आगे का पढ़ते हैं. So we were reading about health. ठीक है. In health में we read about, so we read about the physical quality of life index. So let me adjust it or start. Hi Shashank. सो हम पढ़ रहे थे कि कंसेप्ट ऑफ वेल बींग क्या होता है. तो फर्स्ट वाज स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग, देन सेकंड वाज लेवल ऑफ लिविंग, थर्ड वाज क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ. सो क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ के अंदर आ जाएगा फिजिकल क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ इंडेक्स PQLI. ठीक है. सो PQLI जो होता है उसमें इन्फेंट मोर्टालिटी आ जाएगा, क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ इंडेक्स, लाइफ लाइफ एक्सपेक्टेंसी आ जाएगा एट एज 1, देन लिटरेसी आ जाएगा, ये सारे आएंगे. सो दीज कॉम्पोनेंट्स मेजर द रिजल्ट रादर देन द इनपुट्स. इनपुट्स के बदले हम रिजल्ट को मेजर करते हैं. एज सच दे लेंड देमसेल्फ टू इंटरनेशनल एंड नेशनल कंपैरिजन्स. For each component, the performance of individual country is placed on a scale of 0 to 100, where 0 represents an absolute defined worst performance, 0 का मतलब है, and 100 represents an absolute defined best performance. मतलब physical quality of life index में 0 to 100 तक है. So the composite index is calculated by averaging the three indicators, giving equal weightage to each one of them. The the resulting PQLI thus also is scaled from 0 to 100. ठीक है, इस तरीके से करते हैं. दिस इज़ ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट इंडेक्स, जिसमें 3 चीज़ डायमेंशन ले रहे हैं. क्या? लॉन्ग एंड हेल्दी लाइफ के लिए लाइफ एक्सपेक्टेंसी एट बर्थ ले रहे हैं. देन नॉलेज के लिए मेनी ईयर्स ऑफ स्कूलिंग एंड एक्सपेक्टेड ईयर्स ऑफ स्कूलिंग. एजुकेशन लेंगे, लाइफ इंडेक्स लेंगे, एंड डिसेंट स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग के लिए हम लोग GNI लेंगे, GNI पर कैपिटा. सो ये मिलके हमारा ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट इंडेक्स हो जाएगा. ये हो गया पैसे में. ठीक है, दिस इज पैसा, दिस इज ब्रेन, एजुकेशन हो जाएगा. ठीक है, ब्रेन, दिस ब्रेन, एंड दिस इज लाइफ इन इटसेल्फ. सो ये 3 मिला करके वी कैलकुलेट द ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट इंडेक्स, जो कि PQLI में मेजर किया जाता है. सो it may be mentioned that PQLI has not taken per capita GNP into consideration, showing thereby that money is not everything. पर कैपिटा GNP नहीं लिया है, GNI पर कैपिटा लिया है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल ऑयल रिच कंट्रीज जैसे कि मिडिल ईस्ट with high per capita income have in fact not very high PQLI. एट द अदर एक्सट्रीम श्रीलंका और केरला स्टेट जो है इन इंडिया हैव लो पर कैपिटा इनकम. लोगों का पर कैपिटा इनकम कम है विथ हाई PQLI. ठीक है. इन शॉर्ट, PQLI डज नॉट मेजर इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ, इट मेजर्स द रिजल्ट ऑफ सोशल, इकोनॉमिक एंड पॉलिटिकल पॉलिसीज. It is intended to complement, not replace GNP. The ultimate objective is to attain a PQLI of 100. सो ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट इंडेक्स HDI. अच्छा, ये जो हम ये 3 देखे थे ना, ये ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट इंडेक्स था, ये PQLI में नहीं था. ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट इंडेक्स में क्या देखते हैं हम लोग? सो ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट इंडेक्स जो होता है इज़ डिफाइंड एज अ कंपोजिट इंडेक्स focusing on 3 basic dimensions of human development. क्या? To lead a long and healthy life measured by life expectancy at birth. ठीक है, the ability to acquire knowledge measured by mean years of schooling and expected years of schooling, and the ability to achieve a decent standard of living measured by gross national income per capita in PPP US dollar. So thus the concept of human development index where reflect achievement in the most basic human capabilities. Yeah, I said leading a long life, being knowledgeable and enjoying a decent standard of living. Hence These three variables have been chosen to represent those dimensions. The HDI is more comprehensive measure that per capita income. Income is only a means to human development, not an end. Income जो होता है एक means है, एक end नहीं है. Nor is it the sum total of human lives. Thus, by focusing on areas beyond income and treating income as a proxy for decent standard of living, the HDI provides a more comprehensive picture of human life than income does. The HDI values ranges from 0 to 1. HDI का 0 to 1 होता है. The HDI value for a country shows the distance that it has already traveled towards maximum possible value to 1 and also allows comparison with other countries. ठीक है. Now steps to estimate the human development index. HDI को मेजर करने का स्टेप्स क्या है? सो देयर आर टू स्टेप्स टू कैलकुलेट HDI. दो स्टेप होता है. क्या होता है? स्टेप वन, creating the dimension indices. जैसे minimum and maximum value goal posts are set in order to transform the indicators into indices between 0 and 1. The maximums are the highest observed value in the time series. The minimum value can be appropriately conceived of as sustainable value. The minimum value are set at 20 years of expectancy. ये मिनिमम है, ठीक है. HDI का मिनिमम 20 years of expectancy at 0 for both education variables and $100 for per capita gross national income. ये मिनिमम था. क्या था? 20 साल ज़िंदगी, 0 years of education और $100 per capita GNI. ठीक है. नाउ गोल पोस्ट फॉर ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट इंडेक्स. गोल पोस्ट क्या है? सो डायमेंशन, लाइफ एक्सपेक्टेंसी, मिनी ईयर्स ऑफ स्कूलिंग, एक्सपेक्टेड ईयर्स ऑफ स्कूलिंग, पर कैपिटा इनकम. यही है. हैविंग डिफाइंड the maximum and minimum value. So these are the maximum value. Maximum life expectancy 85 हो सकता है, minimum 20. Maximum years of schooling 50 हो सकता है, minimum 0. एक्सपेक्टेड ईयर ऑफ स्कूलिंग 18 हो सकता है, मिनिमम 0 हो सकता है. पर कैपिटा इनकम विल बी $75,000 maximum. Having defined the minimum and maximum value, the sub indices are calculated as follows: dimension index, actual value minus minimum value, maximum value minus minimum value. For education, equation 1 is applied to each one of the two subcomponents. Then geometric mean of the regarding indices is created, and finally equation 1 is reapplied to the geometric mean of the indices using 0 as the minimum and the highest geometric mean of the resulting indices for the time period under consideration as the minimum as the maximum. This is equivalent to applying equivalent 1 directly to geometric mean of the two subcomponents. Now aggregating the sub indices to produce the human developmental index. So the HDI is a geometric means of the three dimension indices. Then this is life expectancy, education and income. सारे का 1/3 कर दिया गया है. Then the construction of HDI methodology can be illustrated. ये वैल्यूज़ हैं, उनको एक दूसरे से माइनस करके निकाला गया सारे को, एंड देन उसको क्यूब रूट कर दिया हुआ है. So countries are divided into low HDI, medium HDI, high HDI, very high HDI. वेरी हाई क्या होता है? मोर देन 0.8 होगा तो. लो क्या हो जाएगा? लेस देन 0.55 होगा तो. मीडियम वुड भी 0.55 से 0.699 तक. और हाई क्या हो जाएगा? 0.7 से 799 तक. Now for the year 2019, नॉर्वे, आयरलैंड, स्विट्ज़रलैंड, ये तीनों जो है ये टॉप हुआ HDI में, रैंकिंग में. और नाइजीरिया और सेंट्रल अफ्रीका जो है, अफ्रीकन रिपब्लिक, आर एट द बॉटम. इंडिया कम्स इन द मीडियम ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट कैटेगरी रैंकिंग है. 131 छी छी छी। अच्छा, नॉर्वे, आयरलैंड, स्विट्ज़रलैंड यहाँ पे जाया जा सकता है घूमने रहने, बिकॉज़ उनका एचडीआई बहुत अच्छा है, पैसे भी मिलेंगे, एजुकेशन भी मिलेगा और लाइफ भी बहुत ज़्यादा दिन रहेगा. So disparities between region can be significant, with same region having more ground to cover in making the shortfall than others. The link between the economic prosperity and human development is neither automatic nor obvious. Two countries with similar income per capita can have very different HDI, and the countries having similar HDI can have very different income levels. So spectrum of health क्या होता है? Health and disease lie along a continuum, and there is no single cutoff point. The lowest point on the health disease spectrum is death. The highest point corresponds to the WHO definition of positive health. It is thus obvious that health fluctuates within a range of optimum well-being to various level of dysfunction. Ahmed. So HDI is ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट इंडेक्स. इसमें क्या होता है, 3 पार्ट्स होते हैं इसके. पहला कि आपका लॉन्ग लाइफ हेल्दी लाइफ क्या है, तो वो हम लोग मेजर करते हैं लाइफ एक्सपेक्टेंसी एट बर्थ से. देन हमारा नॉलेज कैसे हम लोग देखते हैं. सो नॉलेज हम लोग देखेंगे कि कितना स्कूलिंग हो रखा है, और देन हम लोग डिसेंट स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग कैसे देखेंगे, जीएनआई पर कैपिटा देखेंगे. ये तीनों मिला करके फिर हम लोग ये तीनों का इंडाइसिस डायमेंशन इंडेक्स है, और मिला करके हम लोग एचडीआई निकालते हैं एक कंट्री का. ठीक है, तो वो 0 से 1 के बीच में हो सकता है. तो अगर आप देखोगे तो एचडीआई किसका सबसे ज़्यादा था, तो नॉर्वे, आयरलैंड और स्विट्ज़रलैंड का 2019 में जो सर्वे किया गया था उसमें सबसे ज़्यादा था. नाइजीरिया, सेंट्रल अफ्रीका रिपब्लिक जो है उसका सबसे कम था. इंडिया जो है वो मिड में आता है, मीडियम ही एच डी आई होता है उसका, और रैंकिंग इज़ 131. राइट ना, अब हम लोग पढ़ रहे हैं स्पेक्ट्रम ऑफ हेल्थ. सो हेल्थ का क्या स्पेक्ट्रम होता है. सो फ्रॉम डेथ से लेके पॉजिटिव हेल्थ तक सब कुछ उसका स्पेक्ट्रम में आता है. सो thus it is obvious that health fluctuates within a range of optimum well-being to various levels of dysfunction, including a state of total dysfunction, namely the death. So, the transition from optimum health to ill health is often gradual, and where one state ends, the other begins, is a matter of judgment. Okay, the spectrum concept of health emphasizes that the health of an individual is not static. हेल्थ जो होता है वो स्टैटिक नहीं होता है. वो एक पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट पे आप नहीं बोल सकते दिस इज हेल्थ, दिस इज नॉट. दिस इज अ डायनामिक फिनोमिनन एंड अ प्रोसेस ऑफ कंटिन्यूअस चेंज. हर समय हेल्थ हमारा चेंज करते रहता है, सब्जेक्ट टू फ्रीक्वेंट subtle variations. What is considered maximum health today may be minimum tomorrow. Okay, welcome. That is, a person may function at maximum level of health today and diminished level of health tomorrow. It implies that health is a state not to be attained once and for all, but ever to be renewed. There are degrees or level of health, as there are degree or severity of health. Now, as long as we are alive, there is some degree of health in us. So, positive health होता है, these are the positive spectrum health का, और ये negative spectrum. So, positive health, better health, freedom from sickness. और negative में क्या हो जाएगा, unrecognized sickness, mild sickness, severe sickness and death. Now, what are the determinants of health? Determinants क्या होता है? So, health is a multifactorial. The factors which influence health lie both within the individual and externally in the society. So, health का जो factors हमारे health को determine करता है वो society में भी lie करता है और individual में भी lie करता है, in which he or she lives. So, it is a truism to say that what man is and to what disease he may fall victim depends upon the combination of two sets of forces, uska genes, genetic factors and the environmental factor to which he is exposed. These factors interact, and these interactions may be health promoting or deleterious. Thus, conceptually, the health of individual or whole community may be considered to be result of many interactions. Only a brief indication of the more important determinant or variables are shown in. Now, what is this? This is the health. So health के चार ऐसे आप देख सकते हो factors है. One is community, one is society, one is individual, one is family. तो कम्युनिटी में क्या आता है? कम्युनिटी का बिहेवियर, बायोलॉजिक एंड ह्यूमन राइट्स, ये सब डिटरमाइन करेगा आपका हेल्थ कैसा होगा. देन सोसाइटी में क्या आएगा? इन्वायरमेंट आएगा, सोशियो इकोनॉमिक यानी कि आप पैसा कितना कमा रहे हो, और हेल्थ सिस्टम, ये सारा सोसाइटी में आएगा. इंडिविजुअल में क्या आ जाएगा? सोशियो कल्चरल आ जाएगा, एजिंग ऑफ द पॉपुलेशन, साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी इंडिविजुअल में आ जाएगा. एंड फैमिली में क्या आएगा? इक्विटी एंड सोशल जस्टिस, देन जेंडर, देन इंफॉर्मेशन एंड कम्युनिकेशन. सॉरी. सो लेट्स रीड ईच वन बाय वन. सो ऐसे करके हम लोग पढ़ रहे हैं. फर्स्ट इज बायोलॉजिकल, देन बिहेवियरल, देन इन्वायरमेंटल, फिर हम लोग सोशियो इकोनॉमिक पढ़ेंगे. या सो विल बी रीडिंग अबाउट दीज वन बाय वन. ठीक है. सो बायोलॉजिकल डिटर्मिनेंट क्या होता है हेल्थ का, जो कि कम्युनिटी मेनली बेस्ड होता है. द फिजिकल एंड मेंटल ट्राइट ऑफ एवरी ह्यूमन बीइंग आर टू सम एक्सटेंट डिटरमाइंड बाय द नेचर ऑफ हिज जीन्स and the moment of conception. At the moment of conception, the genetic makeup is unique in that it cannot be altered after conception. A number of diseases are now known to be genetic origin. Example: chromosomal anomaly, error of metabolism, mental retardation, some type of diabetes, etc. The state of health, therefore, depends partially on genetic constitution of the man. Nowadays, medical genetics offer hope for prevention and treatment of wide spectrum of diseases. Thus, the prospect of better medicine and longer healthy life. A vast field of knowledge has yet to be exploited. It plays a particularly important role in genetic screening and genetic therapy. ठीक है? Thus, from the genetic standpoint of view, health may be defined as the state of the individual, which is based upon the absence from the genetic constitution of such genes as corresponded to characters that take the form of serious defect and derangement, and to the absence of any aberration in respect to the total amount of chromosomal material in karyotype, or stated in positive terms, from the presence of genetic constitution of the genes that corresponds to the normal characterization, and to the presence of normal karyotype. So the positive health जो होता है advocated by WHO implies that a person should be able to express as completely as possible the potentialities of his genetic inheritance. Now, this is possible only when the person is allowed to live in a healthy relationship with his environment, and environment that transforms genetic potentiality into phenotypic realities. Now, behavior and socio-cultural conditions क्या होता है? So let's see that. The term lifestyle is rather a diffuse concept, often used to denote the way people live, reflecting a whole range of social values attached and activities. It is composed of cultural and behavioral pattern and lifelong personal habits, जैसे कि smoking, alcoholism, that have developed through the process of socialization. So lifestyles are learned through social interaction with parents, peer groups, friends, siblings, and through school and mass media. ठीक है. Now, health requires the promotion of healthy lifestyle. A considerable body of evidence has accumulated which indicates that there is an association between health and lifestyle of the person. Many current day health problems, especially in the developed countries, जैसे कि coronary heart disease, obesity, lung cancer, drug addiction, are associated with lifestyle changes. In developing countries such as India, where traditional lifestyles still persist, risk of illness and death are connected with the lack of sanitation, poor nutrition, personal hygiene, elementary human habits, customs, and cultural practices. Oh, hi, mommy. Hi. So, what are you doing? I just called you and you did not pick up my phone, mama. It's the same old habit. You should know. So I will talk like 150 I'll call it back again, okay? So it may be noted that not all lifestyle factors are harmful. There are many that can actually promote health. Example includes adequate nutrition, enough sleep, sufficient physical activity. ये सब जो होता है ना हेल्थ को अच्छा करता है. क्या क्या अच्छे से खाना खाना, न्यूट्रिशियस खाना, अच्छे से सोना और सफिशिएंट फिजिकल एक्टिविटी करना, ये सब हेल्थ को बढ़ाता है. नाउ इन शॉर्ट द अचीवमेंट ऑफ ऑप्टिमम हेल्थ डिमांड adoption of healthy lifestyle. Now health is both a consequence of individuals lifestyle and factor in determining it. So environment क्या होता है? Environment देख लेते हैं. So it is it was Hippocrates who first related disease to the environment, climate, water, air, etc. Centuries later, Pettenkofer in Germany revived the concept of disease environmental association. So the environment is classified as internal, external. Internal environment क्या होता है? Of the man pertains to each and every component part, every tissue, organ system, and their harmonious function within the system. Internal environment is the domain of internal medicine. ठीक है, हमारे ऑर्गन वॉर्गन जो भी होते हैं ना, दैट्स इंटरनल इन्वायरमेंट एक इंसान का. एक्सटर्नल मैक्रो इन्वायरमेंट क्या होता है? कंसिस्ट ऑफ दोज थिंग्स टू विच मैन इज एक्सपोज्ड आफ्टर कंसेप्शन. इट इज़ डिफाइंड एज ऑल दैट विच इज external to the individual human host. It can be divided into physical, biological, and psychosocial component, any or all of which can affect the health of man and his susceptibility to illness. Some epidemiologists have used the term microenvironment, if a domestic environment, to personal environment, which includes the individual's way of living and lifestyle. Example जैसे eating habit, other personal habit जैसे कि smoking, drinking, use of drugs. It is also customary to speak about the occupational environment, socio-economic environment, and moral environment. ठीक है. Now it is an established fact that environment has a direct impact on the physical, mental, social well-being of those living in it. The environmental factor ranges from housing, water supply, psychosocial stress, and family structure through the social and economical support system to organizing the health, social welfare services in the community. So the environmental component, physical, biological, and psychological, are not watertight compartment. They are so inextricably linked with one another that it is realistic and fruitful to view the human environment in toto into when we consider the influence of environment on the health status of the population. If the environment is favorable to the individual, he can make full use of his physical and mental capabilities. Protection and promotion of family and environmental health is one of the major issues of the world today. Now environment हो गया. Now let's see socio economic conditions क्या होता है. So हमें कहाँ तक पढ़ना है? So we have to read till page 60, right? 58 तक तो पढ़ना ही है. And we are in 20, 40. 40 तक I'll read and then I'll take some. And I also have to go to the college. Okay, so socio-economic condition क्या होता है? Socio-economic condition have long been known to influence human health. For the majority of the world's people, health status is determined primarily by the level of socio-economic development. Example, per capita GNP क्या है? Education क्या है? Nutrition क्या है? Employment, housing, political system of the country क्या है? ये depend करता है कि वो इंसान का health कैसा होगा. So those of the major importance are economic status. Economic status is very important. So the per capita GNP of is the most widely accepted measure of general economic performance. There can be no doubt that in many developing countries it is the economic progress that has been the major factor in reducing morbidity and increasing the life expectancy and improving the quality of life. The economic status determines the purchasing power, standard of living, and quality of life, family size, and the pattern of disease and deviant behavior in the community. So, it is also an important factor in seeking healthcare. Ironically, affluence may also be a contributory cause of illness, as exemplified by the high rates of coronary heart disease, then diabetes, and obesity in the upper socioeconomic ग्रुप्स. ठीक है, जो अमीर होते हैं उनको कोरोनरी हार्ट डिजीज़, डायबिटीज़, ओबेसिटी ये सब का से झेलना पड़ता है. सो एजुकेशन एजुकेशन इतना इंपॉर्टेंट क्यों होता है? सो सेकेंड मेजर फैक्टर इन्फ्लुएंसिंग हेल्थ स्टेटस इज एजुकेशन, स्पेशली फीमेल एजुकेशन. The world map of illiteracy closely coincides with the map of poverty, malnourishment, ill health, high infant and child mortality rate. So, studies indicate that education to some extent compensates the effect of poverty on health. So, irrespective of the availability of health facility, the small state of Kerala in India is an striking example. So, Kerala has an estimated infant mortality rate of 6 compared to 28 from all India in 2020. केरला में जो इन्फेंट मोर्टालिटी है वो 6 है और पूरे इंडिया में 28 है. आप देख सकते हो कितना कम है. क्यों? क्योंकि वहाँ पे केरला में एजुकेशन ज़्यादा है. मेजर फैक्टर इन द लो इन्फेंट मोर्टालिटी ऑफ केरला इज इट्स हाई फीमेल लिटरेसी रेट. 98.3% लिटरेट है एज़ कम्पेयर टू 71.5% ऑफ ऑल इंडिया. पूरे इंडिया में अगर लिटरेसी देखेंगे तो फीमेल्स का 71.5% है. हाय शशांक, did you reach the hostel? So occupation क्या होता है? So the very state of being employed in productive work promotes health. Because of unemployment usually shows higher incidence of ill health and death. Okay, so uh, after 10 minutes we'll go to have lunch. Okay, for many, loss of work may mean loss of income and status. So, and it can be psychological and social damage also. Occupation इसलिए बहुत थर्ड मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट हो जाएगा हेल्थ के लिए. ठीक है. सो पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम हमारे हेल्थ को इतना ज़्यादा अफेक्ट क्यों करता है? सो हेल्थ इज़ ऑल्सो रिलेटेड टू द कंट्रीज पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम. ऑफन द मेन ऑब्स्टिकल टू द इम्प्लीमेंटेशन ऑफ हेल्थ टेक्नोलॉजीज आर नॉट technical but rather political. Decisions concerning resource allocation, manpower, policy, choices of technology, and degree to which health services are made available and accessible to different segment of the society are example of manner in which the political system can shape community health services. So the percentage of GNP spent on health uh, is a quantitative indicator of political commitment. The WHO has set the target of 5% expenditure of each country's GDP on health care. हर एक कंट्री का GNP जो होता है उसमें से 5% जो है हेल्थ केयर में जाएगा. However, India spends about 1% of its GNP on health and family welfare. What is this, man? What is this? Just 1% in health? What is this behavior? मतलब हमारा जितना भी टैक्स जा रहा है उसमें से केवल 1% हमारे हेल्थ को जा रहा है. डज दैट मेक इवन ज़रा सा भी सेंस? हम लोग पूरे वर्ल्ड में सबसे ज़्यादा पॉपुलस कंट्री है एंड ओनली 1% ऑफ द GNP इज़ गोइंग इन हेल्थ. ओ माई गॉड, this does not make any sense. What is needed is political commitment and leadership which is oriented towards social development and not merely economic development. If poor health pattern are to be changed, then changes must be made in the entire socio-economic political system in any given community. So social, economical and political actions are required to eliminate health hazard in people's working and living environment. Now health services देख लेते हैं. So the term health and family welfare services cover a wide spectrum of personal and community services for treatment of disease, prevention of illness and promotion of health. So the purpose of health services is to improve the health status of the population. For example, immunization of children can uh, influence the incidence and prevalence of particular disease. जैसे कि provision of safe water can prevent mortality and morbidity from waterborne disease. The care of pregnant women and child would contribute to the reduction of maternal and child morbidity and mortality. To be effective, the health services must reach the social periphery and equitable distribution accessible at a cost the country and community can afford and socially acceptable. All these are ingredients of what is now termed as primary health care, which is seen as a way to better health. Now, health services can also be seen as essential for social and economic development. It is well to remind ourselves that healthcare does not provide good health. Healthcare does not provide good health, whereas there is a strong correlation between the GNP and expectations of the life at birth. So there is no significant correlation between medical density and expectations of life at birth. So the most we can expect from the effective health service is good care. The epidemiological perspective emphasizes that health service, no matter how technically elegant or cost effective, are ultimately patent only if they improve health. Now let's see aging of population. मैं यहाँ तक पढ़ लेती हूँ. आफ्टर दैट विल टेक ब्रेक. उसके बाद हम 5:30 बजे आ करके विल रीड अहेड इकोलॉजी ऑफ हेल्थ, ये सब बाद में पढ़ूंगी. Now, aging of the population. By the year 2020, the world is estimated to be more than 1.4 billion people aged 60 or above, and more than two-thirds of them living in developing countries. Although the elderly in many countries enjoy better health than hitherto, a major concern of rapid population aging is that increased prevalence of chronic disease and disabilities, both being conditions that tend to accompany the aging process and deserve special attention. So, gender. In 1990, have witnessed an increased concentration on women's issue. In 1993, the Global Commission of Women's Health was established. The commission drew up an agenda for action on women's health, covering nutrition, reproductive health, and health consequences of violence, aging, lifestyle related condition, occupational environment. It has brought about an increased awareness among policy makers of women's health issue and encourages their inclusion in all development plans as a priority. So, other factors क्या होता है? We are witnessing the transition from post-industrial age to an informed age and are experiencing the early days of two interconnected revolutions. So, in information and in communication, the development of these technologies offer tremendous opportunity in providing an easy and instant access to medical information, once difficult to retrieve. So it contributes to dissemination of the information worldwide, serving the need of many physician, health professional, biomedical scientists and researchers, the mass media and public. Other contributions of health of population derived from system outside the formal health care, that is health related system, food, agriculture, education, industry, social welfare, rural development, as well as the adoption of policies in economical and social field that would assist in rising the standard of living. This would include employment opportunity, increased wage, prepaid medical programs, and family support system. In short, medicine is not the sole contributor to health and well-being of the population. The potential of intersectorial contribution to the health of communities increasingly recognized. Thank you, guys.